Hello, Sav. How are you?
I'm good. I
I
hope
think
you're doing good.
I'm doing good myself. I think this is the first time we've ever been in the call.
Yeah, I don't think we've been in a call before.
So, how's it been? How's the past few weeks been for you?
The past few weeks, they were a little wacky, but they've been good.
Yeah, you
Uh,
you uh you recently came back from a con, right?
yeah, there were two cons that I was at recently, and they just happened to be back to back, so I finished one, and then I slept in my bed for one night, and then I had to leave and go to the other one. That doesn't normally happen, but sometimes it does, so I was just like super exhausted, but they were good. They went well. They were just like chaotic.
And you cosplayed as both of them, right?
Yeah, so every con I go to, I cosplay. It's like my other big thing I do other than VTubing.
Like, were these new cosplays or cosplays you've done before?
Um, it was a little bit of a mix. I try to do like at least one new one every time I go to a con. So, yeah, I did. I finished my Roxanne Wolf cosplay finally, so I did that at both cons,
Yeah,
and
I
then
saw the pictures of that. It looked good.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to get the rest of them back. And then I did a couple repeats, so like I wore Yor again because she's really comfy and easy to do. And then a couple I did with my friends at the bigger con.
Yeah, and
And
and you go to these cons a lot. From my perspective, you're always posting about them. Like,
I
did
don't go. Funnily enough, I don't go to as many as I used to. I used to go to way more of them, but this was like pre-COVID when they were more
Yeah.
affordable.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I did have to cut back.
Like,
But
do you just happen to live in an area where there's a lot of cons close by?
yeah, kinda. So where I live in the Midwest, I talk about this. I live in Ohio, and like Ohio is really central, and I can drive to like a lot of big cities in under 6 hours, you know? So
Yeah,
like for
like
me to get yeah.
you can get to Chicago really fast, I think.
Yeah, Chicago's 5 hours for me. So there was a con I went to. There was a couple cons I've been to in Chicago. And then I go to like ones in Pennsylvania, I go to ones in my own state, and then like to DC and stuff. So I'm just in a good spot where I can drive to several of them, you know?
Yeah, it's a good location you're at. It's unfortunate you're in Ohio.
It is
Oh,
Ohio.
Ohio memes here and
You
about.
can I know, I embrace it. It's fine, but it's easy to escape Ohio is what I'm saying. You want to drive any direction
Yeah,
out of Ohio, you're good.
you drive a couple hours, you're in some place
You're
new.
gone. Yeah, you're in a different state. It's pretty nice because some states like Texas, like if you're at the bottom of Texas, to get out of Texas, it's like a 10-hour drive, which is
Oh
so
yeah.
crazy to me.
Like I live in Texas. Like there's a city in New Mexico that's closer to me than the next city in Texas.
That's so I can't even imagine. I would feel trapped. Be like, I need to get out of here.
Like my convention history is pretty sparse. I
hmm
went to one in San Antonio. That was an 8 hour drive.
Man, yeah.
And then
I
I
was
went one to I went to one in Canada. I had spoken about that before. That was a
yeah, yeah.
gosh, how long of a flight was that?
I was about to ask, did you fly or drive? I hope you flew.
I flew. It was multi-hour flight.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So
I've never been to Texas. There was a con I almost went to in Texas, but even then I was gonna like stay with my friend and it was like 3 hours from where she lived. And I'm like, how big is the state of Texas?
it's quite big. It's
It's
quite
quite
big.
large, apparently.
There's a lot of empty space, a lot of
Yeah.
wilderness. But it's a pretty ecologically diverse place. Like where I live, it's a bunch of desert.
hmm
But there's a lot of like mountainous forests area. Yeah, there's a whole
Yeah,
beach section.
that's true too. I always forget because of the Gulf. And some of the Gulf areas are really pretty.
Oh yeah, yeah, it really is. Now, Sav,
Yeah,
what do you do on Twitch? You're a type of streamer, right? Well, what kind of what
I suppose.
yeah,
You
what did they call it? Anime virtual streamer,
That's one description, I
a
guess.
VTuber, I think that's
I'm
the
what the
name.
kids call a VTuber.
So
They call it cringe, I've heard, but that's fine.
it's a little cringe, you know.
It's all right.
So why did you decide to be a VTuber?
Oh man, so when I tell this story, I like to say I went through like a quarter life crisis. And when I went through my quarter life crisis, that's when I was like, I'm gonna be a VTuber.
Quarter life crisis. That'd be like in your 20s?
Yeah, so I was like 25, 26. Well, yeah, I was like right at 26.
Okay.
We're the same age now. Happy birthday.
Yeah. It just so happens to be my birthday today. So
Like,
so at 26 you started?
yeah, I
25,
was
26.
it was last year, so like last year around this time, like
Okay, so
February is when I started getting stuff together, but I didn't have everything together until uh technically March, but like my actual model wasn't done until April. Um but yeah, I went through like a big like job change, like I changed career fields because like basically the career field I was in like became very turbulent in my area and it became just like miserable for everybody in it and it was like super competitive and a lot of stuff was like closing or being bought out or stuff like that and I was just like I need to get away from this and go do something else so I got a different job and then I was like I'm gonna be a VTuber, maybe that'll make me feel better. I think it worked.
yeah, it's definitely a whole it's definitely a whole change from what you were doing before.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Now, do you consider VTubing a job or is it just a hobby for you?
I mean, I want it to be a full-time job. I would consider it a part-time job right now because it definitely does help me and
You are
I
making some money off of it. You have
I
a
am
number of
making some
subscribers.
money. Not a lot. Like I can't do this full time yet. Like I
Yeah,
can't
it's
pay
it's
all
not
my
gonna pay your
bills
bills
yet.
yet.
But that is the goal eventually.
You are growing
Hopefully.
relatively fast.
I think so too. I've been really happy with how stuff has gone.
So you've been at it for a whole year now.
Yeah, my 1 year anniversary. So I started streaming in March of last year, but my affiliate anniversary will be in early April, I think, mid-April. So it was like mid-March when I started streaming
Oh,
I started with a PNG.
wait, so you got affiliate rather quickly then, didn't you?
I did. It took me like a month, I think, like 4 or 5 weeks. But I had a lot of like friends supporting me and
Oh, okay,
whatnot,
okay.
so they made it.
You had
I
you had a
really
good
owe it to
support base from the
them.
beginning.
Yeah, I had a good support system at the start, and I don't know, I've had a lot of friends just be like really supportive of what I'm doing now, so that's really cool.
Were you already friends with a bunch of streamers before you started?
So I had some friends that were streamers, but where I'm a cosplayer, there's like a lot of overlap of
Oh
people.
yeah,
I'm friends
definitely.
with a lot of cosplayers, and cosplayers like anime, and people who like anime like VTubers. So that's kind of where the roads meet. And so they knew what I was trying to do, and they were like very supportive of it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, with cosplay, how long have you been doing that?
Oh man. Technically, uh, so when I was a kid, my mom used to make me like costumes for Halloween. So if you count that, that's part of it. I'd be like, "Mom, I want to be a Pokemon." She made me like three different Pokemon
And
costumes when I
she
was a
made
kid.
them.
Yeah, my mom did.
Okay, so it wasn't just okay. Well, we'll buy a Pikachu costume at the store.
No, I was extra about it. Like she made me an Umbreon once and she made me an Absol once. Uh, I think were the two she made me. And it was just like my mom crochets, so she's like a little crafty. And she has like some hand sewing. She would hand sew some stuff, and for the Umbreon, she like cut out the rings that Umbreon has and just like glued them with fabric glue to like existing fabric. It was very DIY, but I was so happy as a kid. I felt very cool.
So in a way, you kind of grew up in like a whole like not necessary not like a straight like cosplay upbringing, but like somewhat with the whole like your mom making you costumes for Halloween.
Yeah, I don't know, my parents have always been like very supportive of, I guess, my more like nerdy hobbies and the interests I had as a kid, you know? So I actually discovered like what cosplay was and what like anime conventions were by coincidence because I was out with my parents one day. We were like going to dinner or something in the city near us, and I saw people walking down the road, like down the sidewalk, dressed as Pokemon, and I was like, what is going on? There are people dressed as Pokemon, and basically there was a convention going
Oh,
on, like in
there
my
just
town.
happened to be a convention
Yeah,
going
there just
on.
happened to be a convention, and I had no idea what it was, and I like begged my parents to take me in there just to see, and they bought like day passes, and they took me in there. I was very young. I was like 8 or 9,
Did they know
maybe.
what it was?
No, but they were like, okay, there's a Pokemon thing or something going on over here, and she saw it, so now we have to go, or she's not gonna shut up about it.
Now,
Yeah.
does your mom still help you with your cosplays nowadays, or is it entirely you like buying cosplays or like making your own?
Yeah, I make and I buy and I modify my own now. Sometimes she has helped me with stuff for before, like miscellaneous materials. Like this one time, I think it was my dad that did this actually. Um, it was for a toga from My Hero Academia. I needed paint cans, like spray paint cans, because I made that like gear that she has. And I was like, "Do you guys happen to have empty spray paint cans anywhere?" And for some reason, my dad had a box of like barely anything left in them spray paint cans. Yeah, so that's just an example. Every now and again, I'll be like, "Hey, do we have anything like this? Do you have a
Okay,
material like
yeah,
this?"
yeah.
But other than that, no, it's pretty much just me. But they still know when they like ask for pictures and stuff. It's really cute.
And yeah, so they're fully supportive of you doing cosplay. Uh,
Oh yeah.
I'm going to assume they're also supportive of you streaming and VTubing.
Yeah, so VTubing is not a conversation I've had with my parents because I don't
Yeah,
know how well they're going to comprehend it.
yeah. Like they're from at the very least one generation behind. Like,
Oh, for sure.
do they know what? Like, do they understand what streaming is?
They know that like live streaming exists, but I don't think they understand how big of a culture there is and how big of like an ecosystem there is for, streaming. Because they're not super connected to like the internet anyways,
Yeah,
they just scroll Facebook and like send me dad memes, like
like
minion memes off of Facebook.
like when you're going live, do they know that like, oh, you're doing this?
No, so I don't even think they know what Twitch is. They like see my cosplay images because I post them on other websites, but I don't even think they know what a Twitch is.
So do they know you stream like at all?
No, I don't think they do. They know how to like look into my stuff, but I don't think it's somewhere they've ever ventured, and I haven't really brought it up to them that I stream. I think if I told them, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, whatever," but it's the VTubing part that I don't think that they would really
Yeah,
comprehend. So yeah, I haven't
that's a
got the
whole nother
conversation.
layer on top
Yeah.
of streaming.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because I've thought about it. I'd be like, what would my mom think if I'm like, hey, I stream, but I'm like an anime person? I feel like she wouldn't be surprised at all, and she'd be like, yeah, that checks out.
Like I don't get it, but I don't
I
get
don't know
what it
how it
is.
works, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Now, back when you first started with VTubing, was there any like other VTubers that you were familiar with, any you looked up to, any you took inspiration from?
Oh, yeah, there was a bunch of them. So I watched VTubers for like several years before I tried to figure out how to do it myself. Um, Let me think here. Which ones? Hmm. I watch so many now that it's hard for me to pick back in my brain and figure out which ones
Okay, well, what's the
were.
first name that comes to your mind when you think
So
of
like
a VTuber?
the first VTuber I ever like looked into or like tried to figure out what was like Kizuna Ai because
Yeah,
she
she
was like one of the originals basically.
yeah she popularized the term
Yeah,
VTuber.
for sure. And it was because uh yeah, she was playing a game that like I also played and one of her videos like popped up on YouTube and I watched her play it and I was like, "Oh, this actually isn't how I thought that like a VTuber would behave." Because she was like kind of she's kind of wacky. Like she would like scream and be like really
Like
silly, and I was like,
a
this was
very
not what
like
I was expecting.
a very hyperactive, exaggerated character. Like
Yeah.
not too dissimilar to like um 2010s YouTubers.
Yeah, I guess you're right. She was a
Like
little before that time though, right? Or am I just bad at like
no,
I don't know.
she was 2010s, I think. Mid
Yeah.
Early to mid 2010s when she like first popped up. I
Okay.
could be entirely
Okay.
wrong.
No, you're probably right. I'm just, you know, this is kind of math, when you have to subtract years that have gone by, and I'm not very good at math, so don't fault me for that.
You know, we're both edging into 30.
Man, don't put it.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's all right. I feel good.
Now,
Hopefully, we're feeling good.
with you specifically, your VTuber model, from all the VTubers I've personally seen, yours is one of the more detailed.
Really?
Yeah, like
Um,
I had tried drawing yours. If you remember, I posted it in your server like some time ago.
yeah,
I had complained. There's a lot of like accessories to your model.
yeah. There is my design
Like
artist
so
went pretty hard.
you worked with an artist to design it?
Yeah, so I found like a character artist, like somebody who had, did character designs before, and I just found them like digging through Twitter basically. But their name is Kopi Lee,
Kopi
or
Daily?
Kopi Jelly. Yeah. It's like Kopije Lie, I think. I'm bad at spelling and math apparently, but yeah, their name is Kopi and they're like so talented. I saw their original character sheets that they'd done because they had it as like their pin tweet and it was just characters that they had designed for other people. And I really liked the detail and the thought that they put into everything. So I was like, I think this person would do a good job. And they did do a good job. I'm very happy.
So, what was the whole process of designing your VTuber model? Like, who threw in what idea? How did you to like converge your ideas into what the final product is?
Yeah. So this is probably one of the more interesting things about like getting into VTubing, especially if you want to like have your own character, which you don't have to have your own character. There's so many like pre-made models and stuff and like Vroid and stuff. Um, is I basically, yeah, I found like a premise. I was trying to find like a lore premise I wanted, and I had a good idea of what I wanted the character to like look like. So, you know what Pit Crew is?
Pit crew? Uh
Yeah, it's like that website where it's like anime dress up games, that people will like make profile pictures out of and stuff.
oh, Pit crew?
Yeah, Pit Crew.
Like
I made a bunch of
I thought you
those.
said pit crew,
Pit Crew? No.
like a NASCAR pit crew.
Yeah. That's where I figured it out. Um, no, I made like a bunch of Pit Crews, like experimenting with like ways I wanted it to look, and then a big tool was like Pinterest. I had a Pinterest board. I still have it, and it was like every, you know, design element or, ideas I had for what I wanted the character to look like, and I kind of broke it up into like, oh, I like this type of hairstyle, I like this hair color, etc., and I ended up giving that entire board to Kopi, so my character design artist. And I was like, hey, yeah, here's what I'm thinking, and I gave them like a little write up of it, and then I just said, do whatever based on these images and this information.
Okay. So, one element to your design is well, the lore of your character. Like, did the lore come after, or were you thinking
So
about the lore when you were like picking out like all the
yeah,
design elements?
the lore definitely came after because my main goal when I was going out to set this character up, um, so I've had the same brand name for a while since I was a cosplayer before I was a streamer. And I didn't want to change my brand name because I still wanted to be a cosplayer and have like my stuff connected basically.
So there's like a wolf element to your design on top of that.
Yeah, since I go by Houndorable, I wanted there to be like a canine aspect to it, but my favorite animal is snakes, and I like have a very deep like attachment to snakes. So I was like, how do I have both canine and like reptile features and what's going on? So I just started deep diving like Google. Um, and at one point I was just looking up like types of demons, and if you look up like wolf snake demon, eventually you will find the demon that I am based on. So it just kind of fell into place. It worked out really well. But it was kind of like happenstance. So I took uh this one named demon that like exists in several grimoires or whatever and based it around that is what happened.
Okay, pulling out the snake bit of your design.
Yeah.
Tell me about Hersha.
Yeah. So Hirsch is interesting. So I'm based on a demon called Marcosius, and the way Marcosius is described is a shape-shifting demon whose preferred form is a wolf with a snake for a tail. So they have a snake tail, but it's a wolf. And then it also is shown with like griffin wings often, but I haven't crossed that bridge yet.
Yeah,
That is a bridge I am eyeing.
I'm looking
I'm gonna
at it on Wikipedia. It's also breathing
yeah.
fire.
Yeah, it also breathes fire, so that's something that could happen
You
eventually.
know,
I have like a bag of tricks I could pull out
fire breath is very common in
in
old
demons.
demonology.
Yeah, for sure. Um, sorry, my phone went off. I don't know if you heard
Now you have
it.
Hersha as a tail, right? Does it come out of anywhere
Yeah.
else?
No, it doesn't. She is my tail, but since in my lore, Hersha is a separate demon, and they kind of joined forms so that they could leave hell and like live on the surface together. Since she's a reptile demon, my thought process was, oh, it's really hot in hell. You know, like if you took a demon that's used to this really hot area, especially if it's based on a reptile who's like cold blooded, you know. So that was my solution to like, how do I explain why there's a snake for my tail? It was fun because I basically had Marcosius. I was looking at Marcosius and I was like, how do I explain this? How do I make this like make sense in lore for like a VTuber? And that was like the challenge I had to go through. It was really fun. But yeah, Hersha's my tail, and originally I had her as like the mascot for my stream, and I still kind of do, since you know she has like the text to speech and the voice
Yeah,
AI module and
yeah.
stuff.
Didn't you reset the AI Hersha in your server? It's a channel.
Yeah, so AI modules are interesting. This is my first time ever messing with them. But you basically write up a little fan fiction for whatever character you're trying to make. And you put it in there. And the first attempt I had at Hersha, it was going well for like a while, but then she got too prudish. I don't know what happened. I think chat broke her and she couldn't take it anymore. So I went back in and I like reset her memory, which is a weird thing to say, but you can reset its memory so it forgets what happened to it, basically. And then I changed some stuff in her descriptor boxes so that she would behave a little bit differently. And I think the new version of Hersha has been going pretty well, so that's good.
There's still an element of unpredictability in how she'll end up, isn't there? Isn't there?
Oh yeah, for sure. Since she's still an AI and like I don't know what she's gonna actually respond with sometimes.
Now,
It's very interesting.
as a VTuber, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve in this space?
Um, so like I said, I would love to do like full-time content creation, you know. Doesn't have to just be VTubing since I am a cosplayer. That's the nice thing is like I don't I have like different routes and different stuff that I can pull from basically. But honestly, I would be happy if I could just, you know, pay my bills and not starve and not get evicted from, you know, doing something that I really enjoy and like hanging out with a community I've built and I really enjoy being around and getting to craft and like do cosplay and stuff. It's definitely my passion.
So you definitely would like it if this could become like a career for you.
I do. Yeah, that's the dream. That's what we're working on.
What are your thoughts on a VTuber agency like a V Shoujo or other whose name escapes
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, I don't have anything against agencies. I think they can be like, really beneficial and really powerful, especially because for a while I feel like that was really the only way you could become a VTuber, but that's not the case now, which is
Like
cool.
there's a whole ocean of like independent VTubers, and
Yes,
like
yeah, now we have,
just look
so
at
many
you, look at
indies.
me, look at everyone else I've interviewed so far.
Yeah, because like the technology behind it isn't as much of a mystery and it's not as like expensive to get into as it used to be. It still can be like pretty expensive, but there's like a market now
Yeah,
with like a range,
uh,
you know.
just look at like spending around like early four digits, like
Early four digits. Yeah, for like a pretty solid
or
one. That's not.
lower end four digits. It's a better way of phrasing it.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair number. Yeah, but I don't have anything against, agencies. I think so long as like,
Like
you know,
if an agency would approach you with a contract, would you take it?
so it heavily depends. This is something I think about a lot actually because I keep my eye on agencies and I kind of look at how they manage and how they function and behave. Um, and there's just like a little bit of a culture difference between like independent VTubers and agency VTubers, and it definitely depends on like which agency it is. But for me, it's a little complicated because a lot of VTuber agencies they don't want their talents to have like their faces known, and where I am a cosplayer and I like post my face
Yeah,
online.
you
That's
regularly do that.
Yes, that's something that I think would give me trouble if I ever tried to join an agency. I'm not saying it's
I think
impossible.
I think they would just straight up just give you a new VTuber character.
See, that's the thing too, and I don't want to do that. Like I've put so much into this and I'm really attached to my
Yeah,
character, you know?
going
Um,
into an agency, it appears you lose in a level of autonomy with creative
for
control.
sure. Yeah, for sure. And there are some agencies that have, I guess, what they call adoption style agencies where they let you keep your character. But there's just a lot of question marks I have. So there is a perfect scenario that exists out there where I could see myself joining an agency. I just don't know how likely it is.
It'd be a very
Yeah,
it'd be a very specific and complex
for sure.
contract.
Yeah, it would be super specific and I would be very picky about
You
everything.
need a
Like
good
I would be
lawyer.
combing through every detail, yeah, I would have a lawyer, all that fun stuff.
It's easier to be independent. You can do whatever you want.
It's true. Yeah, the hardest thing about being independent is getting off the ground, but like, you know, there's no right or wrong way to do it, and there's so many resources available now. So it's I think it's great that people can, get off the ground themselves and not have to rely on like agencies.
Now, we've mentioned before, we're in our late 20s, you and I. Um,
Yeah.
can you see yourself still VTubing going into your late 30s or 40s?
I think I can. There's honestly so many streamers that are like already in their 30s, and I vibe with those streamers because that's something about streaming that's really interesting to me is you can find a community for like anything or any type of vibe, any type of person, you know? So the age demographics like definitely can vary, So I definitely could see myself doing this like, approaching 40, but my audience would be people like around my age that are also on the internet, and like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, enjoy the type of content I do or the type of humor I have at my age, I guess.
Now, with your content, you marked your channel as 18 plus. Uh,
Yeah.
so you definitely have like a sense of freedom where you haven't really pigeonholed yourself with a specific niche audience.
Yeah, for sure. And because I am like a little bit older too, I just, and I'm an adult and I talk about adult things sometimes. Because I'm bad at like flapping my gums and not censoring myself. I don't really want kids in my community or in my audience at my age.
Mm-hmm. I've gotten the impression that a lot of VTubers really don't like cater to any like specific audience. Like as far as I'm
Yeah,
aware, there isn't like a VTuber like equivalent to like Sesame Street. There's no VTubers for kids.
that's true. I've never thought about it that way. It's just, yeah. Huh. And there are streamers that like are like, oh, this is an all age community or whatever, so they try to not like, be inappropriate or like swear or be like explicit or anything, and that's just not me. It's not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
happen.
you'll swear like a sailor if you have to.
I do. It's bad. I had that thought last stream. I was like, I need a swear counter because I swear there was a period where I feel like I cussed every other word for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, this is a little out of control. Sorry, everyone.
Early on, I went in with the whole I'm not gonna swear. I'm not gonna really be very vulgar. But eventually, I'm like, nah, this ain't me.
Yeah,
I need to swear here and there.
yeah, I agree. And I have like kind of found a freedom, I guess. Like I
I need to
don't
say something
try to.
perverted.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, I can't hold it in anymore, guys. I have to say a bad word or something. I can't do this.
Sorry, guys, I gotta do it to him.
Yeah, it's not for me. So
Now,
I enjoy just being able to talk however.
would you consider yourself a lewd tuber?
Um, so I'm kind of at the cusp of that. I guess I would consider myself a lewd. Um, but I guess how much lewd stuff that different lewd do on stream varies. It's not like my core content. I don't do just like ASMR roleplay or anything like that,
Yeah,
but I do.
you don't do any of the ASMR thing. You don't do
Yeah.
like fansly streams, which I've seen a couple others streamers do.
Yeah, there are some VTubers that do that, which is interesting to me. My model also like is incapable of that right now. I mean, it's not off the table.
I
I'm kind
mean,
of interested. I'm not gonna lie,
you
but
you
not at the
can
moment.
definitely go it down that road.
Eventually, if I wanted to, and that's exciting to me. That's interesting that I have like choices of how this could play out, I suppose. But yeah, I am an adult that likes to talk about adult things, and I don't, you know. I'm gonna talk about stuff. You can't stop me. That's kind of my identity, and that's why I wanted to be like, 18 and plus community, you know.
And your server definitely reflects that.
What does that mean? Explain for everyone else.
Oh, I'm just saying, you have what one, two, three, seven, not safe for work channels.
Huh? Wait, no, I 7?
I'm kidding.
Wait.
There's just the one.
I was like, did I accidentally lock 7 of my channels and no one told me? Yeah, there's just one. But that's okay. It's alright. We're
Now,
all adults in here. You're no kids allowed, so if I want to post, anime boobs in my server, I'm gonna do it and no one's gonna stop me.
you can do it too.
Yeah, I do. I do it quite often.
Now, I want to go back a little bit. Uh, so I guess your formative years.
Oh, okay.
Now, you did a lot of I guess proto cosplay early on.
Yeah.
Now, was there anything like else in your childhood that you can really like look back on and say, oh, this made me who I am?
Oh man.
Like a book, a TV show, movie.
Hmm. I don't know. That's a hard question. There's so much like media I've consumed, and I'm one of those people. I have a hard time saying what my favorite is of anything. Like, oh, what's your favorite movie? Oh, what's your favorite book? I don't know. There's like 5 that I could say, depending on my mood and the day and which one I remember.
Yeah, like at the very least, there's a list of things you can
Yeah,
name. Like
well,
there's no definite like one.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So definitely a lot of. I played video games from a young age, and I watched anime from a young age. And like I said, my parents were always like pretty supportive of the stuff I was into. They might have made fun of me a little, but they still let me do it and they were like, whatever.
Yeah,
That's probably the gist of it.
yeah, you seemingly had a very a very healthy upbringing on that end.
Yeah, for the most part, they were pretty supportive of it. It's funny because my mom my mom got like a photo printer for like Christmas one year or something. And I came home to visit my parents like from college or something, and my mom had printed off a bunch of my cosplay pictures and she like hung them in the living room. And some of them are still there if I go to my parents' house. They're just like normal like pictures of me and then there's just my cosplays and it's really funny to me.
That's wonderful.
It's pretty cute. It's cute. Yeah, I'm glad they don't like disown me for dressing up on the internet and in real life.
Now, what about today? Not nowadays. Is there any like shows you really enjoy? Any, or more specifically, any creators, authors, directors, what have you, that really like motivate you?
Gotcha. So, just the most thing I do, like I watch movies here and there, but there's no like director or like movie studio that I'm like really attached to. It's just whatever seems interesting. I don't really read books as much as I used to because I just don't have the time
We,
and
we can
audiobooks
include
aren't really
manga
for
into
me.
that.
Manga, so I watch anime more than I watch manga. There are like some manga that I try to watch. It's just like for anime though, I can put it on like in the background or on like the screen beside me and like be doing something else too. So I try to be like multi-productive, you know? So if I'm working on like a cosplay, for example, I can have like a an anime up and be watching it. But there are several manga that I still like want to read and finish. It's just a matter of like me having the free time to do that.
Yeah, and you do seem rather busy. Like in the last stream schedule you posted for this current week, you only put 2 days of streaming.
So 2 or 3 days is normal for me right now since I'm part-time
Yeah,
streaming technically.
yeah,
But yeah,
you came home from work, like for this.
I did. Yeah, that's true.
Like,
I
how hectic is your schedule?
That's a little hectic. I think it's a common experience for a lot of VTubers that are like starting out or like are at my size is they have like a double life almost. They have a day job still, but then at night they're trying to, stream and like build their streaming career and stuff like that.
Now, is it just work, or do you do anything else?
Um, so I have like a day job and then, I have like some other like avenues for like income, but you know, it's like little side jobs, little like handy jobs, stuff like that. I do pet sitting
Oh,
still. Yeah, so I help some people like take care of their animals or like give medication to them or do walks or like stay with them at their house if they're on vacation or whatnot. So that's one little booster that I have and I still do.
so you're not like going to school or anything like that.
No, no, I'm done with school already.
And did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to college. The reason that I do like pet sitting and stuff like that is I was working in like the veterinary industry, so like veterinary medicine, animal health, stuff like that.
And did you
Um,
graduate from that?
yeah, I did. I didn't go as far as I wanted to, so originally I thought that I would like become a doctor and stuff, but then I actually got into the field and I found out how like messy and turbulent everything was, especially like during COVID and post-COVID. It just hasn't really like recovered. Basically, I entered the field at the absolute worst time that you could. That's my luck as the age I was at. Nothing I can do about it either. So I'm just like, well, here we are. And
And
then my quarter life crisis happened when I made that realization.
and you since left that field, right?
Yeah, so I don't work in hospitals anymore. I do other stuff, but just whatever, keeps me afloat right now.
Would you ever go back?
I would if it calms down, and if I had a really good opportunity where like I felt like I was actually gonna like it and they were gonna take good care of me. Because that's just a reputation that veterinary medicine has, unfortunately, is like everyone is very stressed and unhappy and like overworked and they don't have enough benefits and they aren't paid well enough, which is
Yeah,
a common complaint for a lot of fields. But yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely
You're
a
basically a
problem.
doctor with less benefits.
Yeah, pretty much. You do a lot of doctor stuff, basically, but you know, you don't get the pay for it or like the benefits for it. That's a lot. It wore me out. I do miss it a little bit, but I miss the good parts, and the bad parts are enough to keep me doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, in the event that you could go back and you could like get the benefits you could have,
Yeah.
would you be able to would you be able to manage that and VTubing?
Um, I think I could. I kind of like my schedule now. My schedule, you definitely, when I worked in hospitals, was still like way more hectic. I think I could figure it out, but I'm comfortable where I am currently. So it would just depend on if a good opportunity came my way, and like it fit my schedule and stuff like that. Since like streaming is really important to me now.
Okay, Sab. I think we're at a good spot.
Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the audience here?
Uh, if you have a quarter life crisis or a midlife crisis, it's not over for you. Find something you like to do and do your best. And you don't know what'll happen, I guess.
That's great. That's good.
Yeah.